Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. No, I'm just kidding. Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. I'd love to have you, mate. But anyways, I accidentally had some Red 40 today, so I'm a little bit lower dough than usual. I'm also exhausted. I went to the gym, and I'm dealing with William. I'm dealing with this bloater. I'm dealing with William Hornby, which always puts me in a rebellious, bratty mood. Always. And it was Britishly cold outside today, so we've got a lot going on. So I'm Georgie today. So can I help you? No, I'm just kidding. I don't even think they say that. But anyways, about to find out what William is on about, mate. Okay, let's go. We gotta get our gun ready though. I can't even say that, huh? YouTube's gonna be like, shh. Get it together. We've got to get it together because we're dealing with the bloater here. Okay? It's not nice. All right, let's go. I'm kind of nervous. I feel like this is going to be a terrible take, honestly. I think it's going to be horrible. I haven't watched it, but multiple people sent it to me. Goblin, shout out, sent it to me. Elizabeth sent it to me. I'm naming names. Okay, and you guys are canceled because you sent him to me, okay? Because I don't like to see his face. I've made that very clear. I'm just kidding. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna do this now. Let's go. We put the sound on so I can hear his angelic voice. I can really get into it. So I haven't even told you guys what it's about yet. It's about the Mike Tyson ad. You know, William he has to talk about it because it's, he's the E followed by the letter D men's issues person. So of course, we're going to read an article by him too. And we're just going for it. We're having a William moment. I haven't had a William moment with you guys in a long time other than my members because he's really heavy on the terminology, but we're doing it. We're doing it. We're going to have a go. All right, let's go. Right, mate.
Is the deadliest illness affecting Americans today?
Okay, I'm going to let it play the whole way through, and then we'll talk about it later.
Actually, no one dies of obesity. You can't be serious. Did you know that there isn't a single disease that is exclusive to fat people? That's not right. Hate to break it to you, but it is. But what about diabetes? Thin people also get diabetes. I'm not talking about type 1, I'm talking about type 2. Thin people can also get type 2 diabetes. Don't waste your time trying to find a disease that only fat people get because there literally isn't one. What's your point? My point is there isn't a single disease that kills fat people that doesn't also kill thin people. So either there's a medical intervention that is available that has nothing to do with weight loss, or there isn't a medical intervention available for anyone. But doesn't being fat at least increase your chance of certain diseases? Higher body size does correlate with higher rates of certain diseases, but we don't have any evidence that the higher body size is causing those diseases. Oh, okay, genius, then what does? There are too many factors to point to one as the cause, but we know that fat people get worse healthcare from doctors because doctors don't take them as seriously. We also know that fat people are more likely to weight cycle, which is really bad for the body because they are constantly encouraged to diet. We also know that being marginalized causes a lot of stress, so fat people have higher cortisol levels. I'll be honest, I never considered that. Fat people are also less likely to go to the doctor in general, just out of a fear of being body shamed. And also, on average, fat people are poorer, so they're not able to afford.
Oh my gosh, are we throwing everything at it, William? Come on.
There are a lot of factors that aren't just a person's body size. The best thing we can do for fat people's health is to root out anti-fatness in our medical system and in our systems in general. It shouldn't be in our society. And also, we should make sure healthcare is available to everyone universally. It is not helpful to just tell people to stop being fat. That is a kind of messaging that has never worked and will never work. Obesity.
Okay, I'm not even gonna lie. I couldn't pay attention. I'm sorry, William. I know I'm the last person to tell somebody to talk faster. I get it. I totally get it. But I'm being a complete hypocrite. I'm dealing with the hypocrisy, okay? I'm engaging in it. I'm engaging in the hypocrisy tonight. I could not pay attention. The red 40 has gone to my head. I can't do it. I can't do it. The red 40, the cold, all of it. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Is he even talk? What are you on about, mate? What are you on about? Are you alright? You alright? I don't know if he's alright. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and watch it again. And I'm gonna literally try not to. I don't even know what I'm gonna try not to do. But my patience was wearing thin during that tirade. So luckily this time I can cut him off every second. So are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, let's go.
Obesity is the deadliest illness affecting Americans today.
I don't know if it's the deadliest, but it's the most plentiful. It's a huge epidemic. It's awful. It's affecting millions of people's qualities of life. It's affecting loved ones' qualities of life. So the people that are in relationships or family or friendships, all of it with people who are really big. It's affecting the system. I don't know if you want to call it that, just in grand scale. It affects the healthcare system. It affects healthcare costs for sure. It affects a lot of stuff. So it's affecting the economy. It affects workplace. It affects the globe. It affects the planet, the environment. I don't really know what else is more important, you know? And again, that is a matter of opinion. But it is spreading faster than we could even imagine. Obesity is going global. It's taking over the world at a very fast pace, and it's very concerning. So that's what I will say. I will say most people don't care enough about it. But I am also an anti-fat acceptance activist, so of course I'm going to say that. Of course I am. So, yeah, full disclosure there. But I would say it is it's a very prolific issue. That's what we will say. It affects a very big amount of people.
Actually, no one dies of obesity.
So I heard great arguments. I believe I heard this from Elizabeth, but she was talking about Anna, and she was saying you could say the same thing about, being too small, we'll just say. It is a horrible EFAW by the letter D cope. It is toxic ritualistic AF, which we call TR on this channel. The toxic ritualistic, it's a coded term for EFAW by the letter D. It is horrible. It is truly horrible. It is super TR logic, brainwashed, zombie brain rot, bloater take beyond. This is somebody who's actively pushing death. This is somebody who is horrible. This is somebody who's at the worst possible stage you could be in terms of EFAW by the letter D, literally advocating for death. Okay? That's the level that's the lows that William is going to. Okay? He's a bloater. He's promoting obesity outright. When you say that obesity doesn't cause health problems, you are automatically glorifying obesity because you are denying absolute fact. You are also denying the fact that BINGE, EFAW by the letter D, is bad. You're like co-signing it or giving it credence or promoting it even, particularly to people who have it already. You're telling them that they're not doing anything wrong and that what they're doing is not going to harm them, which is horrible. You're horrible. This is bad. And again, I have to say, like, the zombies within the TR, they are not fully in their right mind. I don't believe William is sane. I don't think that that's even a hot take. I think a lot of people think he's kind of insane. I do too. So I'm going to say that, like, on a human level, I do have to have some grace for him because I don't think he's in his right mind at all. I don't. But the issue is that for some reason in society, we are listening to people like him. I don't know why. It should never happen. We should not be listening to people who are nuts talking about these issues. We don't let the crazies take over the asylum. That's what's happening in society right now. So I've told you guys a lot. Part of it is because nobody in America gives a crap about health or fatness or weight or anything. The only people who care are people who are nuts. So they care a lot. So people like William care a lot. They're going to talk about it all the time. And every time that you're just quiet about it or you don't give a crap or you're just going on about your day, some zombie is spreading all this toxic crap out there. You know, he's spreading his spores, the spores of the TR. He's going for it. He is a bloater. And we have quite a few of them within fat acceptance, but he is spreading the infection as far and wide as he possibly can. So I just had to say that. I had to get that off my chest. It was a lot.
You can't be serious. Did you know that there isn't a single disease that is exclusive to fat people? That's not right. Hate to break it to you, but it is.
Obesity-induced hypoventilation. I think it's syndrome. I had that. It's where the fat is too much, so you can't breathe. And it's similar to when you're trying to sleep and the fat pushes up and you get sleep apnea. It's very similar. So, but it's literally called obesity-induced hypoventilation, which I had. Couldn't breathe. Who needs that? Who needs to breathe, right? We don't need that. For those of you guys who don't know me or know my channel, I used to weigh, like my highest was 383 and I'm 6'1". So I was very big. I now weigh around 200. Gosh, my stomach just got upset when I said that. It was like, bitch. And I'm like, okay, stomach. Jeez. No, but I weigh around 200. So I'm somewhere in that range. I just started a deficit, William. I wanted you to know. And it's going great. Shots fired. But anyways, okay. Let's continue.
But what about diabetes? Then people also get diabetes.
They do, but it happens a lot more in people who are big. Oftentimes because there's a lot of comorbidities or there's a lot of things that go into it. So diabetes in large part is caused by inactivity, which people don't talk enough about. It's also stress. So a lot of stress hormones, lots of cortisol running through your system, which happens in obese people. I'm sure you're so shocked. When you're obese, your estrogen is elevated, which means your thyroid hormone is opposed more greatly. So the bigger you are, the more estrogen there's going to be, the more your thyroid hormone is opposed. When your thyroid hormone is too opposed by estrogen, then you have to start existing off of adrenaline because you still need energy. So you need adrenaline, cortisol, etc. So when your cortisol is chronically elevated, it puts you at risk for diabetes. The inactivity that goes into obesity also puts you at risk for diabetes because the glucose isn't moving in and out of your muscles because you're stagnant. We need to not use the term sedentary. Let's start using the term stagnant. You're stagnant. So because you're stagnant, all of the sugar and all the glucose is also stagnant inside, which creates a lot of issues. It's bad. Not to mention the fact that some people have insulin resistance, like in women that have PCOS. So that is further complicated by obesity. Almost every issue you have, or almost every issue you can have, is made worse by obesity. It is gasoline on a fire of any problems you have. It will make it worse. You have mental health issues, it'll make it worse. You have chronic disease, it'll make it worse. You have arthritis, it'll make it worse. You have insulin resistance, it'll make it worse. You have depression, it'll make it worse. You have anxiety, it'll make it worse. You're insecure, it'll make it worse. It makes everything worse. So there's not a single thing that obesity improves or makes better. You have sleep apnea, it'll make it worse. You have ADHD, it'll make it worse. Do you want me to just keep going? I mean, really, there's no benefit here. There's no benefit to obesity. There's nothing. Nothing at all. And it is not cheaper, which he's going to use that point too, which that is so annoying. But he's going to use that too.
I'm not talking about type 1, I'm talking about type 2. Thin people can also get type 2 diabetes.
And it would be worse if they became obese on top of it.
Don't waste your time trying to find a disease that only fat people
I already listed one.
get, because there literally isn't one.
I literally told you one.
What's your point? My point is there isn't a single disease that kills fat people.
Could you imagine if I was actually fighting with him? Like, oh my gosh, I guarantee you, I really do. I could get him to shout. I would get him to literally, oh my God, he'd hate me so much. He'd hate me so much. I just know it. I know it. Because I can be a real bitch. And he's the kind of guy where I always get like weirdly personal with him. Warning, I get personal with him. But he is the type of guy that like, he's very controlling. I can just tell. Maybe it's like my gay spidey sense. It tingles, and not in a good way. It's in a bad way. And I'm like, oh shit. You know, I'm sure a lot of you guys that are in my audience that are also gay, like one of you guys commented one time, you were like, oh, I love my toxic gay relationship role play whenever I watch William. Literally. It's awful. The vibes are bad. This is somebody I would run. I'd run. Run for the hills. Especially with the way that I am, because I don't really like to be controlled like that. I just don't. So it's like he would try and I would resist, and then it would just get ugly, like it's getting now. And I'm telling you, if I was in person and we were talking about this, I could get him to shout. I could get him to break. I know I could. I know I could. I'd yell too. I'd yell over him. We just go back and forth. I would love to do that. It would be so good for the channel. It'd be so good. It'd feel good for me, even cathartically, honestly, to do. If Jubilee ever made it happen, I would do it. I'd do it just for like the spiritual experience of it. It would be a highlight of my life to do. And I would wear this fucking jacket too. I would. You know I would.
That doesn't also kill thin people. So either there's a medical intervention that is available that has nothing to do with weight.
When it came to my hypothyroidism, I had to lose weight because I had to reduce the amount of estrogen being produced by the fat. So you have to lose the weight. There's no way to fix it other than weight loss. Weight normalization is what I call it. It can also happen if you are under what you should be. Hypo. There are many paths to hypo. It's one of the best things about it. It's a horrible disease, but you can also become hypo from really any of the TR issues, from any of the EFA by the letter Ds. You can become hypo. So you'd have to gain. You have to have weight normalization to fix hypothyroidism. It's an important part of treatment, which is never talked about for some reason. And somehow it became an excuse to stay huge. Doesn't make any sense at all, because you can't actually fix it if you don't fix your weight. So it's stupid as hell. But anyways, I needed to do that. You have to get rid of fatty liver if you have it. You can't have fatty liver. You're going to become hypo if you have fatty liver. Everything's connected, y'all. How do you get rid of fatty liver? A deficit. And not drinking, which I didn't drink anyways, but I had non-alcoholic fatty liver. A deficit. He's not telling you. He could not handle me. He couldn't. I I'd
lost.
I'd have to be quick though if it was like I wouldn't be able to sit here and rant, so I just have to go for it. And that would be hard, but I would try. I would try. I think he's probably extroverted though, so he might he might be able to yell over me kind of, but I would still give it my best shot with my low voice. I would still try. You see it. I don't care. You guys could see me unleash because I'm not a pussy like that. So I would fight him in person. I'm not like a physical fighter, but I would totally verbally fight him. Absolutely. I would do it in person. I would not back down. I wouldn't. I wish I could show that, you know? Come on, Jubilee, make it happen. Somebody make it happen. I would do it. I'm telling you, I'm down. I would do it.
Or there isn't a medical intervention available for anyone. But doesn't being fat at least increase your chance of certain diseases? High
Yes, it absolutely does. Usually because it messes up a lot of your hormones. A lot. I mean, there's honestly, it's like almost everything. I don't know if, like, I think it's harder to find something it doesn't affect, to be honest.
higher body size does correlate with higher rates of certain diseases, but we don't have any.
Through hormonal dysfunction, which, yes, that obesity does cause those hormonal dysfunctions. It does. I mean, this is so known. I don't even know why he's even acting like this. This is not like a mystery.
Evidence that the higher body size is causing those diseases.
Because it'd be unethical to force somebody to become obese to have a problem. You can't do that in a clinical trial. You can't force somebody to be obese. You can't lock somebody in the basement and force them. That's the only way they could prove it caused it, which would be highly unethical. So those correlations, they're a lot. The evidence is very clear that this is not good. It doesn't get much clearer, to be honest.
Oh, okay, genius, then what does? There are too many factors to point to one as the cause, but we know that fat people get worse health care from doctors because doctors don't take them as seriously. We also know that fat
So
people.
you'll believe those studies, but not the studies involving obesity and the biological hormonal effects of them that are a lot more solid rather than what your survey study? I'm just saying, what is your standard then? Because there's a lot more solid studies and evidence that obesity causes issues than there is that doctors just hate fat people. It's a lot more solid. So you're going to believe one but not the other. Why? Can you explain that? Can you explain why? Like, I wish he would.
People are more likely to weight cycle, which is really bad for the body because they are constantly encouraged to diet.
So I do agree that weight cycling isn't the best. I think that you want to try to be one and done. I'm very much a one and done girly pop on this channel. I really, really promote that. But I do understand it within a super morbidly obese context. When there are certain seasonal aspects, it becomes really difficult not to put on weight during the colder parts of the year. So I understand that. And it's kind of bound to happen because you're so hungry, but that's why you have to be really strategic when it's warmer. As a SMO person, when you're trying to lose, it's hard. But other than that, no excuses. Most people are not SMO, so no. We don't yo-yo here. We don't do that. I'm not a yo-yoer. I don't believe in that. I don't think it's good for you. I don't think it's good for you. Like, just one and done it, please.
Diet. We also know that being marginalized causes a lot of stress. So fat people have higher cortisol levels. I'll be honest, I never considered.
I feel like that would be really, really subjective. Meaning, like, what if somebody didn't feel they were marginalized? How would you prove that? You know? Like, I think it's up to the person a little bit. So this is where we get into weird territory where a lot of people within fat acceptance, they use studies to try to project something onto an individual person, when you're looking at populations, maybe you have a story there, but on an individual level, it doesn't have anything to do with if you, the viewer, can lose weight. And it certainly doesn't have anything to do with the physical reality of obesity causing higher cortisol. I told you how, because it fucks with your thyroid hormone. And if you're BING-ing, you're going to have fatty liver. So congratulations, you're hypo. You made it. Doesn't matter if you're producing, you're not able to convert it because of your liver. Or it's working half as well. Which, who needs your liver to work 100%, right? Let's just have it work 50. Who cares, right? Because it doesn't matter, according to William. It doesn't matter.
Fat people are also less likely to go to the doctor in general, just out of a fear of being body shamed. And also, on average, fat people are poorer, so they're not able to afford healthcare at the same rate as thin people.
Poorer than what? How poor are we talking? How fat are we talking? Because that's also more complicated than William is making it out to be. If you're that broke, you cannot afford the food. Period. How do I know? Because I've been that broke. And my deficit is saved my finances in 2023 and 2024. I could not afford to not be in one, especially considering in 2023 how big I was. Being at maintenance would have been a lot of calories. So I could not afford it. So I'm like, where is this mythical free food that falls from the sky? I'm not seeing it anywhere, you know? So I don't like it when they use that because it's not honest. What we can talk about is, you could talk about maybe nutrient availability, something like that. But he's talking specifically about fatness. He's not talking about malnutrition, which again, they're two separate things. You can be malnourished and fat, but unless if you're extremely poor or there's nowhere to go around, you're not going to have malnourishment when fat for any other reason than just being toxically ritualistic and like not eating certain things because you think you're not going to pass away if you hinge on that other stuff, which people do that all the time. And then they get deficiencies. Also, you'll love this one, William, as a bonus. When you're super morbidly obese, you have a hard time absorbing so many different kinds of nutrients. You could be eating a lot of iron, for example. Even class 1 obesity, it makes it hard to absorb iron. So you could still be iron deficient. Even if you're eating tons of it, you might not absorb it, which what good is it? But when you're super morbid, you have low stomach acid, you can't absorb anything. So it doesn't even matter how much money you have. You probably still aren't getting nutrition. So you still feel like you're starving because you're not getting any nutrition out of your food. So what would you have to do? You have to eat a lot of nutrition to compensate. Is that what a lot of SMO people do? No. They eat a lot of chips and chimichangas, okay? That's what they're eating. It's not really nutrient dense. And by the way, that amount of chips and chimichangas is not cheap either. You're not fooling me. Like Amberlynn Reed saying she spent $500,000 on DoorDash over the years. But sure, William, sure. Everybody can afford to be 600 pounds when they're poor. Absolutely, William, you're right.
Will do. So there are a lot of factors that aren't just a person's body size. The best thing we can do for fat people's health is to root out anti-fatness in our medical system and in our systems in general. It shouldn't be in our society. And also, we should make sure healthcare is...
So the best thing that we can do is not encourage EFAW by the letter D. As a culture, we cannot affirm it. We have to shut it down at all places that we see it. We have to not support it whatsoever. If somebody tells you BMI doesn't determine your health at all, no. That's a no. If somebody says weight is genetic, that's a no. Fire the shotgun. No. If somebody says your weight has nothing to do with your health, no. If somebody says you can't, I don't know, like some people, you'll go into survival mode or something, like you're going to have a supernatural experience and you're going to suddenly put on weight through eating in a deficit. You say no. Like there's a lot of things that you have to say no to, but a lot of people just don't because they don't want to deal with a zombie. They don't want to deal with William freaking out on them and going into a shouting match, which I would do. I would deal with it, but I'm Ellie, you know? I'm immune. I survived. So I don't care. I will fight this bloater. I absolutely would. Because it's like, I show people how it's done. You have to shut this shit down. And we don't do that as a culture because everybody's trying to be nice. Everyone's like, I'm going to be nice. I got to be so nice that I encourage people into their death. I have to be so nice that I just let people dive into delusion. You know, but you know what? At least you were nice. When William eventually does pass away from the shit that he's doing, that it's so obvious he's still all up in this. So obvious, by the way, William, to almost everybody. At least I can know that I said something that I didn't support you in this. I never did. Ever. You know, it's like we have to bring some of that back because people that have this problem, they're nuts. And people don't understand that. He is delusional.
It's available to everyone universally. It is not helpful to just tell people to stop being fat.
No, you just tell people to be responsible. You tell the general population to be responsible, grow up, and take care of yourself. Stop being lazy. That's what you tell a general population person. They're just lazy. A lot of people that are class 1 obese, that are that way passively, they're just lazy and neglectful and they don't care about their health. That shouldn't be something that we just accept in our society. It's not good for me, you, or anyone else to not value health. It's not good to not encourage people to try. That is not a good thing, period. In terms of somebody that's a zombie or somebody that's full-blown zombie, you know, somebody who is full-on in the TR, in the ED thing going on, you got to break the delusion. You don't support it. It's like a fire. You have to smother it. And how do you smother it? Don't shame him. Don't shame him as a person. Now, I have talked some shit about William on a personal level, but I told you guys, I can't help it with him. It just goes there. So I probably wouldn't be a good person to help him because I don't like him as a person. But what it comes down to is you just say, like, no, William, like, weight is related to health. He'd be like, no, it's not. And it's like, yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. It is. You're wrong. You're wrong about this. Like, you're gaslighting me. Da da da. No, no, no. You're not living in reality. Like, you're not living in reality. Try to get in touch with your body. How do you actually feel, William? But they get mad. You know, they don't want to have their delusion ruined. They don't want to have the bubble popped, you know? But it's like, you just don't cave. It's not that hard. They can't really fight that well. If you don't cave immediately, they don't know what to do. They're so used to people caving. Because for some reason in our society, the idea is that, well, you just got to cave. And it's like, no, you don't. No, you're wrong, William. You're wrong. You're still wrong. You're wrong. Again, he's going to get mad, though, but That's all it is. It's like a toddler. You have to remember when people have these issues, there's typically trauma involved. He's very severe. So he's probably like got the toddler level going on in his brain. But most people that have this problem, they're going to have the emotional like stability of a teenager at best, a toddler at worst. But what do you do with a teenager or a toddler? You still tell them the truth, or you tell them reality, or you tell them that they have to take care of themselves. You don't accept it. You don't say, oh, yeah, I guess you just don't have to care for yourself at all. You can just go die in a hole, I guess. You don't say that to a kid. You don't say that to somebody in the TR either, because they're not in the right mind. You can bring everybody tries to make it about emotions and stuff, but it's not that emotional. It's more anxiety based, and it's more like systems and habits. So it's habitual and anxiety. And if once you understand that, and you can observe a person that has it if they're around you, then you can see the routines and you can figure it out really easily. But people just get mixed up because people in the issue, the zombies themselves, they try to make it all about emotion because emotion is so tenuous and unstructured and difficult to pin down. So if I make it all about my emotions, then you can't actually get to it. But if we talk about the habits, if we talk about the anxiety that's behind it, then that's the actual root of it. So it's like, oh, you don't have anywhere to go. It's like, oh, you're feeling anxious. Okay. So you're having anxiety right now. So you're triggered right now. And you don't say it like in a bitchy way. I can't not sound like a bitch right now, but I'm not in like a good space to talk to somebody with it. But it's like, okay, so you're triggered. What happened? Why are you triggered? Well, da da da. Okay. So do you see that just because that happened, that doesn't mean that you have to eat right now? What? Yeah, you don't have to. That's not a real connection. That's not actually reality. That's just a belief you have. You don't have to. Did you know that normal people, when they go through something, they don't necessarily automatically eat? Really? Yeah. You don't have to. But I could never. No, you could. You could stop. Like, you just try it. Try to stop. See what happens. Oh, I was so anxious. Yeah, but you survived. You see? You break the system. You have to kind of interrupt the programming. But people don't do that because we're taught to affirm everybody and say how lovely and special everyone is all the time, which it doesn't help this issue at all. It's actually really awful and it just keeps getting worse. So, again, you don't have to be like a super nasty person. You just have to be firm and you have to be logical. Always remember it's an issue of a lack of logic. That's what it is. It's a lack of logic and perspective.
That is a kind of messaging that has never worked and will never work.
Okay, I don't get it. So they say that, but then they say if you show somebody who's thin on TV that everybody's going to want to be thin. Like they just say a bunch of stuff that contradicts itself all the time. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't even know what you're saying there, William. I don't know what you actually believe. But let's go ahead and look at his article, which I'm sure will be horrible. So here we are. We're going to go through his little article, okay? No one dies of obesity. It's bleeped out because it's, so horrible. But just call everybody fat and see how that does when you're in real life. Just go call everybody fat to their face and tell me how it goes, okay? No disease exclusively impacts fat people. My sister's name was Denise. She died of obesity at 25. She had a heart attack. This was the opening line of Mike Tyson's Maha ad that played during the Super Bowl this year. And to quote Aubrey Gordon, get this, Mike Tyson is ill-informed about public health. The cringe of quoting a fellow bloater, Aubrey Gordon. Get this, Mike, I already read that. Ugh. This ad was egregious for countless reasons, from Tyson calling his former body size fat, derogatory, and nasty, to the website it all links to promoting the modified food pyramid released by HHS earlier this year, the one that is almost universally rejected by registered dietitians and other nutritional professionals. Okay, but I thought diet culture was bad, William. Like, do you care about it or not? Are you going to police people's diets or not? I don't understand that. What difference does it make to you? I thought, gosh, I'm fighting with him. I'm telling you. It's driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts. But literally, like if he was telling me this, I'd be like, what difference does it make to you? You said that all diet culture is bad. It's all bad, right? So what do you care what it says? Why does it bother you? So do you listen to the dietitian? Do the dietitians tell you anything? Do they tell you, or do you go to intuitive eating dietitians? Like, who do you go to? What are they telling you? Do they tell you that anything is healthier than something else? Or did they say there's no good or bad food? Like, what are your views on that, William? Because as far as I'm concerned, there is nothing bad, but I guess one food pyramid is bad, the other one's bad. Like, what is bad? What is good? You know? I'm just curious. It's weird to me. Anyways, but the claim that remains the most harmful is that Tyson's sister Denise died of obesity, and the assertion that anyone does. No one dies of obesity. Bloater promoting death. Horrible, William. Horrible. Obesity, which you'll notice I always put in quotation marks and censor as it is widely considered a term of violence against the fat community, is not a disease despite its classification as such. It is a disease in name only. It is not an illness. It is not in need of a cure. Oh my God, William. You fucking bloater. Gosh, like who the hell is listening to him? By definition, it is a body mass index classification, as is overweight. And the body mass index is widely regarded as useless by just about everyone in medicine except for insurance companies. What? See, this is the problem I have with his site too. It's like, is this your diary? What is this? What are you doing? You know? And I'm not acting like I'm so professional when I react to him because I know I'm not. I told you guys I'm not. You guys love it though. You guys love my toxicity when it comes to him. But it's like, I cannot deal with his site. What the fuck is this, William? Like, seriously, get a diary. Widely regarded as useless? How? What? You do not have to search hard to find out why, but let's put it this way. Oh, you can hear his tone. Oh, I can hear that E followed by the letter D monologue tone. It's so loud in him. Like, I'm telling you, he has no soul left at this point. It's like, I mean, I'm going to be real. I would love to see him recover. I really would. Because then maybe we could actually get to know who he actually is. Because this is not a person anymore. Like, he's not. Whoever he used to be is gone. The William of the past that was a human being is gone. Because this is literally all just like an E followed by the letter D monologue. That's all it is. It's hard to, the tone of it is so caustic and horrible, and it's just like, ooh, it just like grinds my gears. Like, obviously I can handle it, but it's like you can almost just hear him staring at the mirror. I can almost hear it. And for those of us that have been zombies before, we know what this is like. I know what this is like. Y'all know what this is like. It's ugly. It's really ugly. It's not, I'm not calling William ugly. I'm not going down that path. I'm not trying to say anything about his looks, but I'm saying the mindset is ugly. The mental illness is ugly. It's very ugly, William. Okay. You do not have to search hard to find out why, but let's put it this way. A one-step math ratio is never going to be an all-encompassing and informative health metric. There is not a single disease that kills only fat people, not one. Oh my God, William. Like, this is so unethical, William. Like, I'm telling you, this is horrible. You need to denounce this right now. This is horrible. Oh my God. I could not sleep at night if I wrote something like this. And again, as much of a bitch as I can be, I don't completely throw morality away. You know, I'm not as hoity toity as a lot of people would probably want me to be. And then for other people, I'm too uptight. It is what it is. You can't win. But, oh, this is so awful to me. Like, it's morally repugnant to me to write this and to put it out there as truth. It's just horrible. I could never live with myself. Any disease from which a fat person dies can also be found killing thin people. What this also means is that there is a medical intervention available for every disease attributed to obesity that has nothing to do with weight loss, or that there isn't an effective cure or intervention available. That's not true. I've already told you multiple. While there are correlations between certain diseases or causes of death and high BMI, body size does not have to be a causal relationship with any of these diseases. Oh, it does not have a causal relationship. I already told you, you can't lock somebody in a lab. If they did, then they'd show that it was causing it. Okay? There are so many differing variables when comparing the health of the average fat person and the average thin person in America. The correlations between illness and a larger body size can just as easily be found between the same illness and medical neglect due to systemic anti-fatness or consistently high cortisol levels. Your obesity causes high cortisol levels, William. It's probably fueling your disorder. Having that mental illness when you are physically over or underweight, it complicates it. It makes it worse. And it feeds into it. Compromises brain function. And then you lose yourself. It's the zombification process. It's so tragic. It's really tragic. It's just all like his diary, you know. I almost feel like I can see it written like frantically. Fat people are also less likely to visit the doctor when compared to thin people because they are afraid of being body shamed. Fat people do not and cannot get access to the same quality of healthcare as that thin people do. So it is nearly impossible to come up with a causal relationship between being fat, obese, and higher rates of death from illness. Oh my God, William. I hope he sees the light one day. I really do. To quote Kesha, someday maybe you'll see the light. Like, I might have to pray for him after this. It's bad. And I'm not saying that totally as a joke. Like, I half am just because I'm working in the Kesha era. But I'm also saying it like I might literally have to pray for him. It's that bad. Because I really do hope you find your peace, William. This is horrible. I could not live with myself if I was writing this. I could not. When Tyson states that his sister died of obesity, it is immediately followed up with the clarification that she had a heart attack. To be abundantly clear, she died of a heart attack. She did not die of obesity. Thin people also die from heart attacks. Oh my God. I'm going to just move on. We know how I feel about this. I'm sure you guys are feeling horrible too. I'm sure it was devastating that his sister died. And knowing that it's preventable, knowing that things could have maybe been different, it's one of the hardest things to deal with when it comes to a death. But sure, let's encourage more people to end up that way, William. I cannot speak to Tyson's sister's medical history. It is well documented that she was in a very large body when she had her heart attack, but it is not publicly documented how she was treated by her doctors, by her family, by her peers prior to her untimely death. It is not publicly documented what measures, if any, were taken to prevent a heart attack. It is not publicly documented whether she had access to adequate health care on paper, but we can be certain that as a fat black woman in America, that the health care she had access to was plagued by the systemic discrimination that comes with holding those identities. Remember that people within the toxic ritualistic use politics to cover their disorder. So this can happen on the left, on the right, anywhere in between. There's plenty of libertarians that do it too. It can happen all over the place. So I need you guys to do not take anything he says seriously. Please. Like if there's anybody in my audience that is taking anything he says seriously, then I am failing as an activist. Because I have tried to tell you, people will say anything to try to get some kind of credibility, to try to hide. This is all for him to hide what he's doing. That's all it is. Remember, it's selfish. It's so selfish, William. It's horrible. It really is. So what I will say to this point is ultimately the toxic ritualistic, it does run in families. I'm sure something traumatic had happened to her at some point. I'm sure something has happened to Tyson, even if it's just the industry that he was in. I'm sure that she had real pain that led to a certain coping mechanism. But somebody does not just randomly die at 25 being super huge. That person, she was probably doing a lot. She was not treating her body well. I'll put it to you that way. So again, I don't know what her reasons were. We people that develop this, it's usually either very long-term chronic stress or it is a traumatic event or some combination of the two that pushes somebody or tempts somebody to go into this. Now, I will say we always have a choice. Sometimes that choice is made blind when we're very young, which is probably true in her case. But we still, as adults, we can choose to get out. And I implore you, if you're watching this and you have this problem, you need to get out now. Absolutely, right this second. Don't wait a second. You stop the behaviors immediately. You deal with the anxiety. You go get help. People say, oh, I'm too anxious though. I don't. Go get help with your anxiety. This is your life. It's time to take it serious. Okay? It's time to de-zombify right now, immediately, urgently, right this second. Okay? So as far as what I think our biggest barrier is, it is culturally. We listen to people like William as a culture. That is a huge problem. And that's something that I don't think the government can save us from. Unfortunately, we have to change our own culture. And then once the culture is changed, then policy will happen. It's typically how it happens. So once that changes, then the problem might start to get solved. But this is very bad. The fact that William is taken seriously by anybody is a huge problem, and it is a failure on a societal level. I will say that till the cows come home. Okay. That being said, I do think that the message of the ad from a systemic perspective does make sense. I do think that promoting real food is definitely a part of the solution. I do. Absolutely. I do think that real food is better. I do think that ultra-processed foods are a huge issue. Absolutely. But I understand just because ultra-processed foods exist, it doesn't mean that somebody will automatically get an E followed by the letter D because of them. So I think that that needs to be understood as well. And just because they exist doesn't mean that everybody can't handle them. So it's one of those things, you know? But that's somewhere where we're going to have to draw the line as a society. We're going to have to get our shit together and agree on some real shit that will actually help, which is not something that typically happens in the United States at this time, which, yes, I would say our political climate is definitely a systemic issue. Absolutely. So I will agree with you guys there. But it goes back to the culture. This issue, when it comes to food, it is so heavily tied to culture, more than you even know. Because, why? Because human beings, we were in groups of like 100 people. We lived through famines. We lived through times of plenty. We adapt and work with what's available. That should be no different today. So whatever's available, we pick the best we can. We do the best we can with what we have. That's what we've always done as human beings for time immemorial. Why should that be different today? It doesn't make sense. In the wilds, you see a poisonous plant, you don't let a person eat that poisonous plant. That's where diet culture comes from. So it's not a bad thing in and of itself. Of course, it can go too far and become toxically ritualistic, but there are roots to it, and that's how we survived. And just because we don't feel that drive of survival, it doesn't mean that this isn't killing people. This is. It's almost more insidious because you feel like it's not killing you, but it is. And then you have bloaters like William saying that it's not actively. So we have to push back against this rhetoric. Okay. I am deeply sorry that Mr. Tyson lost his sister so many years ago. The pain of losing a loved one is immense, and it is only human to search for answers and want to prevent others from befalling a similar fate, especially if you feel you've been given a platform to do so. That said, it is also irresponsible to publicly assert that she died of obesity and that all fat people are at risk of the same fate. I have empathy for Mike Tyson and truly believe he was trying to do something good with this Maha campaign. I also know that many fat people, and fat kids in particular, saw the ad and were harmed by it. They don't have the vocabulary, education, or context to not be harmed by it. Even some of us with all of that were. So that's just a different question that comes to like, what should be allowed on air, blah, blah, blah. I think the vast majority of people that were watching it were football fans. They're kind of like a tougher crowd. I understand that there's kids around, but also Bad Bunny was performing very like explicit lyrics. Maybe it was in Spanish, but there were still some kids that spoke Spanish that heard it and were probably like, what, So, and that's totally fine, but the ad isn't fine. You know what I'm saying? It's a different question. We can talk about it because I understand both sides of that. It's like, yeah, people have kids, but I don't know if it has to be, if whatever's playing on the Super Bowl has to only be for, 5-year-olds to be able to watch. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a balance to be struck there, but that's, again, a different conversation. As far as the intended demographic, it's a bunch of football fans. Are they the most sensitive people in the world? Typically not. Stereotypically, I'd say no. Okay? Anyways, let's continue. Ideally, no one dies of any preventable disease or illness in this country or anywhere, but that blame falls on governments and medical systems, not on the body size of any given individual. Oh, my Lord. So it's a very, very convenient thing for a toxically ritualistic person to blame the government and the medical system because, especially within the BINGE side, but perhaps other ones, I know William seems to have danced around. It's really convenient to use the idea of systems being the problem to not fix the problem. But it is about control. The whole point is that you have control. So you go to this coping mechanism precisely because you have control over it. All of them have to do with control. So it is a blatant lie to say that the government and the medical system is why you have this problem. That's not true. Now we can talk about the fact that when I was a teenager, I was not diagnosed, even though it was extremely obvious that I had the toxic ritualistic. We can talk about that. That's a systemic failure. It absolutely is. But at the end of the day, especially as an adult, I was choosing to be in it. Now, I do think we can create better support and all that stuff, and we can do what we can. But I am telling you guys, if somebody does not want to get out of this, I don't think you can force them, because the whole point is control. It's an issue of a controlling person. Controlling people have these issues. Again, controlling obsessive people. No hate on all my ex-zombies, you know? And on my current zombies that are having a warm bodies moment. I'm standing in solidarity with y'all, absolutely. But, you know, we could be a little obsessive. That's why I tell you guys to get a cringe hobby to obsess over. Like I got obsessed with The Last of Us. But the point is, or Taylor Swift, like I always am. The point is, the whole point is that you're in control. And he's just trying to tell people that they aren't so that he can hide it. And he's just doing that because he has a disorder. A zombie does what a zombie does. But we don't have to back it up. We don't have to support it. And I'm not going to. So, and I don't think you should either. Okay. Imagine if the $8 million spent on this inflammatory ad had been spent on literally any other proven medical intervention. It'll never be good enough for a toxically ritualistic person. So we need to be clear about that. He would be upset about literally anything. It doesn't matter. So you need to throw that out. You cannot please the zombie. The zombie will never be pleased. Understand that. The zombie will also not be nice. They're not going to be nice. They're not going to be pleased. You got to get through that. You got to get over it. If you bring up getting out of the issue, they're not going to be nice to you. They're going to attack. Period. So it doesn't matter. This ad could have been an ad of angels and sunshine and sad piano music, and it still would have triggered everybody. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how nice you are. It doesn't matter how mean you are. It's going to be a problem. We've seen them attack literally everybody for saying anything. It can be in the nicest way possible. It doesn't matter. It can be harsh. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. They'll freak. Okay. So I need you to understand that. So don't, if you're like kind of a people pleaser person, it's going to be challenging for you to fight this because they will not be pleased. It is by design. So they will go into an interaction looking to be upset. So you have to understand it. It's a part of the mental illness aspect, okay? Because they want to use the interaction to fuel what they're doing later. So they want it to be bad. And that's probably what he did. He probably used that ad for it. But the majority of people, they just thought about real food and were like, maybe I should think about it or something. It got a lot of attention. So whatever. Hopefully there's some kind of positive impact. It's shocking that it even happened, to be honest. In this country, it's actually shocking. Because like I said, health and food quality and fitness and all that is not at all cared about in the US, basically, except for like a bunch of gym bros in the TR world and the fireflies like us. That's about it. You also got the wolves and the seraphites, so we'll talk about them later, okay? We're going to bring them up later. But anyways, let's go ahead and finish this out before you guys all get even more sick of me than you already are. Okay. If the government actually cared about your health or whatever fat people are dying or whether fat people are dying, they would be doing a lot more with that money than a Super Bowl ad. But they aren't because they don't. So what was the point then, William? It's just to make everybody feel like shit or something? Is that really what you think it was for? Like, oh my gosh. If you are fat or in a body classified as obese, and looking for guidance on how to navigate healthcare settings in a way that helps you ward off medical anti-fatness. I'm not going to read that. I don't want you to go to anything that he's suggesting. The belly of the beast, the politics of anti-fatness is anti-blackness. Oh my gosh, look at his sources. I knew it. You just gotta lose weight. Oh my gosh, not me spoofing her book. You just need to lose weight. And 19 other myths about fat people. Oh, look, Aubrey Gordon, Aubrey Gordon. Oh, maintenance phase, maintenance phase. Okay. Look at that. Oh, yeah, that's a good one too. Virginia, Soul Smith. Gosh, probably a bunch of bloaters. Bloaters stick together, I guess. But anyways, you guys, that's it for today. I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.